Welcome, Sojourners. This is Jonathan with Sojourners Awake. This is an older episode in which we introduced Garindan Greybeard, a young dwarf minding his own business, taking care of the Orc Tusk Tavern. One of the things we immediately notice about Garindan is that he looks remarkably older for his age. He also has a few scars underneath his shirt that seem to flare up with a reaction every time he uses magic. As I was reviewing this episode, I couldn't help but think, this character reminds me of someone who is stuck. Whether it's stuck in the rat race, stuck on the mouse wheel, stuck on the treadmill, they just can't seem to get away from the comfort of their life. And yet the call of the adventure reaches their ears. And as you'll see, as we would suspect, Garindan does answer the call to adventure. So what about you? How have you answered the call to adventure? Maybe, like Garindan, you find yourself in more of a pickle than you intended. And maybe, like Garindan, you find strength within that you didn't know existed. Or maybe, just like Garindan, you find yourself mindlessly plugging away at a job you don't care about. Either way, I hope this episode reaches your heart, and may your story continue. And so, our story continues.
With the knowledge that most of the world considers Tiamat a myth, a legend, or at least a dead goddess, they now know that she is a fiend that is seeking to manipulate Severin in bringing her from hell into making our world a living hell. Now in the snow falls, in the winter months, a hymn sounded out in the wild, and between the crunching of snow, there now the sound of heavy dwarven boots approached. The Grove Lore kin had arrived at the entrance of the citadel. "We've come to claim our home," they announced to the sojourners. There was Matthias, Gundren, Nundro, Darden, and Pattywinkle, all present with proud smiles on their faces. "3 cheers for Felthrin!" And the dwarves rang out in a hymn. A lone stranger stood out among the crowd of dwarves, and he was most noticeable as the taproom administrator at the Orc Tusk Inn. He was here as well. Finally, the sojourners prepared. At the pleas of Lady Norvice, with the news of the Church of Tiamat on the move, the Black Dragon mask in tow, they now braced themselves for another adventure. And so, our story continues. Felthrin, the dwarves are chanting out this hymn. Is there anything that you would like to do or say as you lead the congregation of welcoming Grove Lore clan back into the citadel?
Yeah, as they're approaching, Felthrin's kind of just breathing it all in, and he hears very faintly from the distance, and he doesn't really catch it until it's almost done with the last verse, and but they're cycling through, and so very quietly, Felthrin and the others would hear, and then Felthrin would join in along the way, and the hymn sounds, it goes something like this, in a very non-musical, harsh voice. I'm not going to do it because I'll be done friction if I do it in my voice. But you start hearing, for many a year, through all of the land, great tales were told of the, and they all scream out, Grove Lore clan. It says, tales of adventure and climbing the crag, of beating back orcs and defeating the hag. And there's always one old guy that goes, I remember the hag. Always defending our rock and our ore. Our prowess is mentioned in this world's lore. Never an enemy has knocked on our door and survived the war hammer and then everybody yells out extra loud, "Of the Clan Grovelore!" And they just keep repeating it as they're climbing the hill coming up to Grovelore. And you can see Felthran just getting more and more excited and happy and joining in and singing along, realizing that he hasn't sung this song in over 100 years. And just turns into this ruckus. And at one point, they're all just screaming. There's no more music to it. They're all just yelling this verse out. And once they reach the top, he just kind of stage dives into them and just starts hugging all of them.
Yeah, you see Nundro, Gundren, Matthias, the bard. Everyone's like clasping at you. Paddywinkel, the original dwarf who you commissioned to bring all of them. He grabs you in classic dwarven greeting style, showing utmost dominance and respect at the same time, grabbing your beard and then slamming his forehead against yours. He says, "I brought them all, Felthlin. They believed every word you said.
And we delivered.
So what, are you telling me it's all clear?"
Well, we cleared the cultists. The dragons may have escaped, but I think this is for you and the brothers to find out.
This scene right here is just crashing through the deafening winter forest. What was once quiet and peaceful is now, you hear these dwarf chants. And again, they're more like shouts. At a punk rock show, just loud fist pumps and strong embraces. You're free to respond to this situation, considering who you are and what you've just been through. Felix, you're standing next to the Lady Norvice, and having just said goodbye to her son and stealing her resolve, she grabs you by the arm, places her arm underneath yours, and you can see there's just a tear going down her face as she's taking in the pride that these dwarves have for each other. And she says to Felix, "It's beautiful, isn't it?"
I mean, if you like, dissonant harmonies and awful guttural noises, yeah. I've never been much one for dwarfen. I wouldn't really call this music. Drunkenness, yeah, it's fine.
I
Hey,
do think they're
I
intoxicated.
think maybe we shouldn't leave your son's effects just kind of laying there.
You see everything that Hay had left behind, all his worldly possessions, including his clothes. He's been completely evaporated into the Feywild. Felix, did you want to go through those?
Well, see, I'm gonna go bring her over because I want to be respectful because Hay was our buddy.
Okay.
And, Felix's face is not happy. He's kind of sad looking, and he's very like carefully taking his boots and putting them over to the side and folding his clothes just so. And at this point, and Basil's left, right? Basil's took off.
Basil decided his best bet was to go back to the Feywild with Hay. As Fey creatures are, they can be very whimsical.
They left me. I saved their butts from wolves, and they leave me. Just like that.
Bramble, you are privy to this conversation between these two. You are standing close by. I'll allow you to respond as appropriate. You mean, hey, Wilbur, my son. You mean he left you?
Yeah. He was my mate. He was spooky, and he scared me sometimes, but he saved my life. I saved his. I miss him.
He saved all of our lives.
Yeah, a couple times.
I'm sure you would have picked up the mantle had you known of my situation, but only Hay could have recognized me.
Yeah. Nah, we're happy to save you and be with you.
Felix, I can't help.
It's our pleasure, ma'am, and I promise that as long as I have breath I won't let anything bad happen to you.
Yeah, and when she hears that, she smiles broadly and hugs your arm a little closer and looks at you and says, I know you're drow,
Ooh,
but you're
I'm a
more,
little halfsies.
and you're whole gnome, and you're whole knackle.
Hey.
And she grabs your raccoon necklace and kind of gives it a kiss, and then walks off to gather some of Hay's belongings, like his clothes and just personal effects that would not be interest to the sojourners.
Yeah, I go with her.
Okay, Bramble, what are you doing during this time? How are you responding to everything that's going on?
So hearing the dwarves with their chant, it at first sort of gives Bramble he's bolstered by the energy, the spirit of it, but it sort of starts to turn a little bittersweet for him as he remembers the family that he's lost. So he's kind of, I don't know, he's somber but putting on a straight face.
Yeah, you see the little scrap of paper that is left in your hand from Resmir, your nemesis. You know, the last stand at the desert of Skorna. You now know that the Church of Tiamat is planning something in this far eastern desert beyond the Horde lands.
Oi, Shorty, come here.
What?
Pipe man. And like, so Felix has got his pipe tobacco out. Like, smoke?
I'm always down for that, yeah.
Hey, come here. So, he rolls you up one, lights it for you. Maybe just like a really weird cigarette. So, we gotta go to a desert, yeah?
I think so. Desert of Skorna?
Oh, have you ever been there?
Nope.
So, question. Now that you've got your revenge, what you gonna do?
Well, part of what I was here for was revenge specifically, but I also saw a lot of the things that their cause is doing, a lot of the pain that they're causing to other people. And while I'm glad to have stopped Resmir, I know there's a lot more evil going on. So my work's not done.
Hey, come with us.
I think that'll be good.
Yeah, we're gonna kill some more people. It'll be fun. I promise they deserve it.
Well, sometimes they do, I'm sure. We'll see. That's not the only way to solve a problem, but it's a way.
Yeah.
As the dwarves finish up their round and their hymn, there's one dwarf who stands in the center. It looks a little different than everybody else, and you all recognize him now as the dwarf who ran the Orc Tusk Inn. He was one of the servers there, mostly serving the beer, the drinks. Patrick, if you could describe what your character looks like as we witness you in the crowd. Nope.
Got it.
There you go.
So you see a dwarf. He's young, but a bit of a withered face, definitely haunted eyes. He's on the taller side for a dwarf and a big bald head and a real big gray beard. For a young dwarf, it's unusual. He stands just taking it all in, enjoying the camaraderie, and just listening to what's going on around him.
Felthrin, you are in that area. If you could please describe what your character looks like for the rest of everyone else.
Sure. So Felthran is he's an old dwarf. He's actually a little short and a little thin for being a dwarf, but you can tell that he's wiry strong. He's lived a long life, and in his hand is always his trusty warhammer, and it's got a little bit of a red glow to it. Currently very, very light red glow, but you can just tell that he's You can tell by the way he holds his hammer in one hand and his arm doesn't shake, and he doesn't really worry about it, that he's a strong old dude. I think of like a Sam Elliott, if Sam Elliott was a dwarf, just kind of like a wiry old looking dude that you don't want to mess with kind of thing. But he's got soft eyes, and you can tell that he's genuinely happy to see these other dwarfs, and also recognizes that recognizes your character, Patrick, as not somebody that somebody from the Orc Tusk Inn, but not somebody that he was buying ales for in the Orc Tusk Inn. So he recognizes you and says, "Hey, what are you doing here? How did you get suckered into this thing?"
I brought him as well, Felthrin.
Well done.
I brought him as well.
Well done.
Actually, it was a bit last minute, but, well, what'd you say your name was again? Gary...
Yeah, Garindan.
Garindan, that's right. But you're not from he's not part of our clan, but he insisted on coming. Isn't that right?
I heard y'all were doing some good things, and so I decided to check it out.
Well, Garindan, you were doing good things. You brought us ale.
That's right. Are you... Well, we couldn't say no to him, and always, of course he's kin and everything, but we realized it's a bit of a stretch, and we never believed that he had to come along with us, but he insisted. And, well, hopefully you're glad you did.
Oh, yes. Just from the song alone, I felt more than I had in years.
Beltharin will slap him on the shoulder and say, "You can be a Grove Lord." Ha 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 ha.
So Bramble and Felix are off to the side, and previously I described Lady Norvice. She is an older woman with red auburn hair pulled back in a long ponytail or like a braid, and she's wearing simple gray clothes as she blends into the white snow behind her. She has a very sad face with green eyes, and she is picking up her son's clothing. But Felix is standing off to the side. So Felix, if you could describe what your character looks like for the team.
He's a real tall. He's he looks like a drow, but his hair is dark, and he looks like he's got some facial hair growing, which is really odd for an elf because he's not a full elf. He's got jet black hair. He's wearing a dark green cloak that's got these weird shifting light patterns, and the hood is down. Which is unusual because usually the hood is up, but that's when he's doing business. He's real tall and thin. He's like, but almost like almost spider-like in the way that he kind of moves around. And Felthrin, if you take a look at him, you realize he wasn't this tall when we met him, was he? He seems a bit skinnier. What's happened? Whatever. And he also looks like he's kind of armed to the teeth because he's got several swords and things, and he looks like he carries himself with an air of extreme confidence.
Right on, and off to the side, we see Bramble, Brandon's character. For the rest of the team, Brandon, could you describe what Bramble looks like and what he's doing?
Bramble is a very average, a very typical halfling. Hard to pick him out in a crowd. And and you'll see. He's currently packed pretty light. He's not carrying a lot with him. He has a little bit of gear, but not a lot. It doesn't look like he's been doing adventuring things lately, although he is armed. He has studded leather armor and a little bit of blood that's sort of dried at this point, but sort of like coming out from the sides of the leather armor. You can see a little bit messy. He's standing near Felix and very watchful, just kind of observing everything that's going on around him. Doesn't necessarily talk a whole lot, but he likes to see what's going on and try to understand, that kind of thing. So he's listening with interest to anything that sounds interesting.
Yeah, well, you said the magic word. So, Bramble, if you would just let me know what your perception bonus is, please.
6.
Okay, I rolled in secret for you. You get a chill blast, almost like a wind tunnel that moves through Grovelore Forest, and you see a little bit of snow pick up. It almost feels like a tornado is trying to pick up somewhere around here, and you get a very distinct smell in your nostrils, a very dragon-like smell. Seems like there might be some activity 2-3 miles away, coming in your direction.
Felix, did you see that? Did you see that over there?
Oh, wait.
There's some snow blowing around in the air, and I got a very familiar smell. I think
Smell like what?
I think there might be a dragon headed our way. Something dragon related.
Yeah, it's not good.
Hey, Felthrin, can we? I think there might be trouble coming. Can we do something with your clan to help keep them safe?
Let's go in. Let's get in. Let's get under cover. Let's go. Come on. He'll lead everybody in.
If you, yeah, the dwarves instantly get in. Lady Norvice collects her things. Felix, are you doing anything before you head into the Citadel?
Which way was Bramble pointing?
He was pointing towards the south.
Lady Norvice has the black mask, right?
Actually, who has the black mask?
I picked it up.
Oh,
So I've got it. I also have her great sword that we're going to have to get back to at some point. Rismir's.
well, I'm going to see if there's anything I can pick up on to the south of us as well before I head in.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and do a perception check. You got to get higher than a 20.
I did not.
Okay. With that information, you pick up the exact same thing that Bramble is telling you. You get the strong smell of dragon.
Does it smell like you-know-who, Venom Tongue?
Not venom tongue. A little more acidic,
Okay.
a little more black in flavor.
Oh, like that black guy from earlier. Okay, cool. Or
It
black
smells a
dragon.
lot like the inner workings of the Dwarven Citadel. And you see the dwarves kind of pinching their nose when they walk into the Citadel, and you hear a couple of them say, "What on Morden's name is that stink?"
Felthrin, give me the mask.
You okay? He gives Felix the mask. That's fine.
Felix has the mask. Bramble, you have an opportunity to just get anything done or research a little bit more before you head into the Citadel. Anything you wanted to do?
Hearing Felix probably planning to use the mask, he'll sort of run through the things that he's learned about the mask and see if he can provide any tips to Felix.
You're so good. So
Right up what I was going to do.
don't let me forget your roll. Actually, let's do the roll now, and then I'll tell you what happens.
Okay.
Go ahead and make a religion or history check. I'll let you choose. While you're doing that roll, tell me later. All right, Garindan, you are being rushed in with all these dwarves are beginning to like pile in, everyone around you, kind of trying to keep the new guys safe. But you have an opportunity to either like look around, ask some questions about the environment, or tell me anything you want to get done before you're rushed into the Citadel.
So inside the setting, is there any other exits? Other than
No.
one exit? No. So,
So I'll tell you exactly what it looks like. It's a stone column that leads to a small stone archway, barely noticeable to the naked eye, very unassuming for a dwarven citadel, and it just leads right downstairs.
Downstairs. What's the light source inside?
Very dark.
Very dark. Okay. Okay. Can I cast a little light in there?
Absolutely. So you produce some light, and instantly this great hall is filled up with bright light. Can you describe to us what your light looks like? How do you cast this magic?
So from the front of my shield, my anvil shines bright and illuminates the room, and it's my and it sticks to the ceiling right in the center.
I like that. So it kind of almost like splatters as like liquid light that heats up this area. I'll go ahead and read the atrium. The forest of green trees capped with snow opens into a clear stone floor. The ground below furnishes the pavement of fine stonework, depicting a map of the Sword Coast, each detail etched finely in the grooves and ridges. Before this yard of stone stands a tall archway, boasting each cut boulder holding up the others until a bright keystone displays the face of King Oleander, ancient dwarven king. The doors are battered down, crumbling into wood, charred and overrun with moss. They yawn before you, and beyond lay the citadel of Grovelore. And one other simple feature is that the entire atrium ceiling is now bathed in this pure and holy light. A couple of the dwarves look at you, Garindan, and, well, by Morden's beard, you got more than fine brewing in ya.
I try not to talk about it too much, but yeah, I know a thing or two.
Aye, those stubby little fingers of yours are coming in handy. Okay, Bramble. What did you get?
13 in history.
A 13?
Yeah.
All right. So these dragon masks, they've been scattered for a reason, because when they come together, they seam together into one final dragon mask that is a conduit for the worship of Tiamat. Most people believing Tiamat, a goddess of creation, you know her to be a very deceptive fiend, a five-headed dragon. Each of the dragon masks by themselves are used to beguile and influence dragons when the wearer bonds to it with their very own soul. 13, you do have a suspicion. You're not sure if you're right, you're not sure if you're wrong, but the dragon mask alone, used by someone who doesn't know what they're doing, it could prove very effective, but with dire consequences. So use with caution. At that moment, you see Felix grabbing the black dragon mask, and he is touching it with his hands, and he is appropriating it. You two are the last ones inside this citadel. Felfrin has...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, how's this thing work?
So here's the thing. It bonds to your soul.
Felix just drops it. Like, it just falls right in the soil. He's like, oh, what? His hands are up, and he's just staring at it like, what?
Yeah, so there's a chance. It might be our only way to survive if things go badly, but we might want to save it as a last resort.
You put it on.
I will hold on to it.
Yeah, do that. I'm not touching that.
All right, so Bramble picks it up.
Bramble, you pick it up. Bramble, with that 13, you do get like, you kind of look into its dragon eyes, and it's almost like calling to you, begging you to enjoy its power. You hear the laughing sound of Resmir. She cackled, burning down your village, burning down your estate. You hold in your hands something very evil, and yet powerful enough to seduce a dragon. Bramble and Felix, please make a dexterity saving throw.
21.
26.
21 and 26? You know, I would have hit the rogues. 25 points of acid damage to you both.
Jeez.
You have Evasion.
I have uncanny dodge right now. So
Okay.
I don't have evasion yet.
It comes at Rogue 7.
I'm not there yet. I took some sorcerer spell levels. I thought
I-
multi-classing would be fun.
I love how like they're both like casually talking about like rogue stuff. Like, hey man,
As they're getting covered in acid, right?
You see this large black claw snap to the side. A snake-like neck looms down and looks at you upside down. Its maw opens up and just splatters the citadel with acid. Bramble and Felix taking the damage of it. Bramble, did you use evasion?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and describe how you tumble out of this encounter. Otherwise, it would have just toasted you.
Yeah. So it was very much a subconscious reaction. Just saw like black out of the corner of his eye, and immediately sort of tucked into a backward roll. Didn't come out of it very smoothly, but it got him out of the worst of the acid breath.
Ragamanthor coughs, and you can see the vile green slime dripping from his fangs. The four of you are standing before him in the citadel, holding back the throngs of dwarves in a protective stance. He says, Who are you? And he's looking at all four of you right now. Garindan, you still have like a little bit of light tingling on your fingertips, and this whole area is just lit with bright light. A family of dwarves and gods know what else has entered into my home. Who are you? Speak.
I am Felthran of Grovelore. This is our home.
And he just wheezes and hacks and spits off to the side and says, The hell it is.
Bramble holds up the mask and says, We have released you from the one who was controlling you.
Where is the she-dragon?
She's gone.
Oh, we killed her!
You have incurred the wrath of Tiamat. You will be hunted down. You will be destroyed. I can see it, though my vision fades even now.
And today, we can help you.
All right, what do we see when Bramble stands there? I love that he's holding up this mask as if it's this trivial thing, the key to his freedom.
He looks defiant. He looks completely confident that what he's planning is going to work, that he's going to be able to persuade her.
Okay, Garindan, what are you doing during this time? How are you responding to this situation?
So I'm hanging back and just ready that if the dragon attacks to cast a warding flare, just trying to kind of take a pause.
Okay.
And preparing a spell to heal the damage taken to Felix.
Okay. Who are you going to put? Warding flare is just going to be on the next person who gets attacked.
Correct.
Okay. Let's see who he likes more. I know Bramble held up the mask, but I want Felix and Bramble to do persuasion checks. High number winner.
He's gonna like me more. I got a 24.
Ooh, barely. This is more maybe a team relationship. That's pretty close. He looks over at Felix and says, Can you prove you killed her?
Felthran steps forward and throws her sword out at his feet.
Yeah, that.
And what of the followers?
We let them go.
Then you are foolish, for the Church of Tiamat will harvest them later. And that is what they plan, to harvest. They'll need 100 souls to feed the ritual. I mean, what am I saying? Why shouldn't I just kill you now for breaking and entering? Note, has anyone touched the dragon horde?
What horde?
Yeah, I don't think y'all did. Okay,
No.
keep going.
There's a horde? You withheld, man.
No, you knew.
Every dragon has a horde, you idiot.
We only came to free you by gathering this mask and to put an end to what has happened to my home.
This is my home, and I won't move. I've been here for 50 years now, and I don't feel like giving it up.
This might be a problem.
Put the mask on. Shortstack, put the mask on.
Don't want to.
He paws the ground, and he's...
Murdering thieves can't, by the way.
Yeah.
That's what thieves can't sounds like.
Hey!
Start calling you Mickey and Minnie.
All right. He's starting to like wheeze, and you can see like the slime beginning to protrude through his rib cage, almost seeping out of his skin. His claws are beginning to sharpen, and he's starting to count 1, 2, 3, 4.
So, like, me and Brandon are this right in front of this dragon, right?
The 4 of you, I would say, are holding back this dragon from entering the citadel, which he could go through, by the way. It's a large enough archway.
Beltran is torn because he wants to defend his home, but he's also damaged, and he also doesn't know that even with the dwarves' help, so that they can stop the dragon. And he does. Yeah, I think for him, the greater good at this moment might be to save the life of the dwarves. So,
Sure. Let us see Felthrin interact with Garindan on that note.
Garindan, he's much bigger than I thought he was, and seems pretty nasty. What do you think? Should we defend Grovlor and risk the life of our brothers and our friends, or should we step away and come back for Grovlor another day?
Well, there's not hundreds of us here, but if he's collecting souls, I don't want to be mine.
Felthorn's going to look around at the other dwarves and see what's going on there. Do they have bravery on their face? Do they have let's defend Grovlor on their face? Or do they have let's get the heck out of here on their face? He's going to look specifically at Gundren first.
Gundren looks at you and says, "Oh, it'd be a shame to just walk away from this. Perhaps we could retreat deeper inside. Felthrin, this is your gig. You're calling the shots. We're standing behind you if you want us to. We'll go away if you want us to."
He looks around. Is he getting support?
They're totally supporting you.
Ugh.
They're waiting on your call. Yeah, just saying, there's, just for the sake of numbers, there are 12 dwarves.
We got 12 dwarfs.
One of the NPC dwarves is the bard, because he was a PC at one point.
Right. Yes.
Correct.
Fire up your guitar, man!
Felthorn's going to walk forward again, and we are taking Grovlor back. We do not want to fight you. We don't care about your horde. We want our home.
But I'm hungry, and I smelled you from afar, son of Moradin. Bramble, Felix, what are you doing?
Is he looking at Felthrin now?
Yes.
So I'm gonna turn invisible. No wild magic happened.
Okay. Good.
I'm gonna go off to the right.
I need you to make a stealth check.
That's a 29, my friend.
Okay.
Is that good?
Sneaky. You're not doing bad. You probably know that dragons have blind sight, but in this distraction, as he's like focusing in on Felthrin licking his chops, you just vamp into the ethereal plane. Did you want to continue, or are we gonna see what Bramble's doing?
What's Bramble doing real fast?
Bramble is inching his way farther into the citadel.
Okay.
He has short legs, trying to get a head start.
Okay. You have the mask, right?
Yes, in hand.
Okay. You recall that he has reconciled that Rezmir is dead. He does have some sense of freedom as his mind is starting to come back and forth but he did say this was his home. Garindan, are you doing anything?
Nothing that comes to mind right now.
All right, I think we're gonna fight then. So everyone roll initiative.
Felthron was so ready to do something cool, and now he's going to have to wait till the end of initiative to do it.
All right. Ragaman Thor got a 17.
Boo.
That's not good for Bramble. All right.
I suppose I should have mentioned when we were celebrating and stuff after killing the witch that, and when I was describing what Felthron looks like, he's pretty tore up too.
Okay. Yeah.
We haven't had any kind of rest since we fought her, so.
You all should feel very afraid. However, you do notice that Ragaman Thor has a few wounds of his own.
Oh, good. Good.
Felix, you are invisible due to your clever tactics, and you are first.
Yeah, I'm gonna run behind the dragon.
All right. Moving behind the booty, the tail starts swishing back and forth. You see this is a pretty nasty tail, and you notice that any moment that tail just almost has a mind of its own, ready to snap and knock someone in the back of the head.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a good look at him because he looks all jacked up. I want to see like how bad, if this guy's good off or not, so I can look if there's any. Just kind of get a good look at him before I kind of get a little ways away.
Yeah, you got a good look at him. You would say that looks like he's been in a couple skirmishes, maybe. He's got some arrows sticking at him. He doesn't look like he's at full health, so to speak, but still formidable.
Cool. I'm gonna move within like 30 feet away to the back right side of him. Kind of get a range of that tail. I'd like to not get. I'd kind of not like to get acid spat on anymore.
You are out of the acid range. You are not out of the tail range unless you want to burn your action to do so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything for your bonus action?
No, I'm gonna sit tight and observe for a second.
All right. You have evaded the tail whip action. Great job. This black dragon is going to do a multi-attack. First, he's going to see if his acid breath recharges. And it does not. You see his wheezing begins to increase. And he begins like coughing, and he coughs up a loogie and just slashes at the three of you. So, any further ado. All right, Felthrin, you get hit with a 24.
Yeah, it just barely got me.
You get 19 points of damage. Some of that is piercing, some of that is acid. Garindan, you also get slashed with the next claw. You get hit with a 26. Just 11 points of slashing damage.
I was asking about his ward.
Yeah, I was. I said my mending ward, my warding flare.
Warding flare.
Did that not go off?
It does, so it gives him disadvantage. You're right. Let me roll again. That's going to be a 13 to hit.
And you have a shield, right?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, so your armor class is effectively 17, my friend. So warding flare works. Right at the last minute, you issue this like bright fan of light, and it blinds Ragaman Thor for a minute, just long enough for you to duck. The claw goes slashing at you. Bramble, you indicated you were hightailing it, so he's not going to be able to reach you, so the second claw is going to go towards Garindan again. That's going to be an 11 to hit. The next claw goes slashing at Garindan and totally misses. The dragon's turn is done. Bramble, you are about 30 feet behind everyone. You are well within the citadel. The dwarves have all kind of gathered around, and they're looking for exits. They're preparing and pretty much out of the territory. What would you like to do?
As a bonus action, he's going to say, "Hey, over here!" to cause a distraction.
Okay.
The next attack against him has advantage.
Okay, nice.
He's going to fire off a shot with the hand crossbow.
Go for it.
13? Nope.
Going for an 18.
And he will continue to, he'll stay probably at about 40, 45 feet away.
Okay. Did you get advantage on that?
I intended it to be for somebody else, for the next person who attacks. So I think it's...
Okay.
I don't think I can help myself.
It should indicate a creature that you can see. That would include you. But if you want to pass it off to someone else, that'd be fine. Garindan is up next.
So Garindan notices that Felthrin's a little worse for wear and wants to bolster him. So yeah, like heal or bless or strength.
You have cure wounds. You can roll a 1d8 plus your wisdom. That's a first. Now here's how that works. That's a first level. If you want to do a second, third, or fourth, you simply add a d8 to that. If you want to burn a higher spell slot, otherwise you burn a first level.
Yeah, I'll roll again to the third.
All right, so you're going for a second level. Go
So
for
5 and again, and it went to 9, and then the third level was 3, and so 7.
I get 25 points.
it. Indeed. Garindan, you just kind of like kicked into gear. What does it look like? What kind of style is your healing magic? What characterizes you?
So my healing magic, it just that light settles on Felthrin, and it infuses into the wounds and heals them up. I started to itch a little bit at my collar for various wounds that are starting to show, but it's just second nature coming through.
It's beautiful. Okay, Felthrin, it is your turn now.
Felthran's going to yell, "Follow me, brothers!" And then he's going to charge. And as he charges, he's going to turn into a brown bear. And he is going to attack as a bear.
Advantage.
With advantage. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. So first the bite attack. And that would be a 17.
Oof.
Not good?
Nope.
And then a claw. Only advantage on the first attack, though, right? The claw is going to be a 19, though.
There you go. You make contact.
Right. 8 points of damage.
Bing!
Was that bing, meaning that it didn't penetrate his...
It did.
Okay, good. Good.
That's top of the round. Felix. Round 2, it is your turn.
I'm out of range of his body and his tail.
Yes.
Witch bolt, big boy.
Nice.
19.
Ooh, close enough.
No wild magic effects and take 7 damage.
Lightning begins like erupting, and you can see it like going through the dragon's eyes as it begins to crackle, ramble. It's actually dragon's turn. Here we go.
Are the dwarves going to get involved at some point?
They're helping.
Okay, cool.
The acid breath does not recharge. He goes to like spit, and right as the witch bolt hits him in the back, and the acid just goes flying into the sky. He's going to use his multi-attack again. He's going to do a bite against the brown bear. 18 for the brown bear.
That's plenty good.
Another 19 points of damage then.
Okay.
Chomps down on top of you. He's going to take one claw to Garindan. Dang. That's going to be a 10 to hit. And a 15 to hit.
No.
Swing and a miss.
Garindan, you throw up your shield at the last minute, and you feel the impact of the dragon's claw against yours. So far, you've come out of this thing unscathed, though Felthrin has taken quite a big chomp. Bramble, it's your turn.
Bramble's going to, so he has to be relatively close to cause a sufficient distraction. He's going to do that again. Just kind of, what? You can't get me in here? Am I too far away? And he's going to take another pot shot with the hand crossbow. That's a 26.
There you go, and get that sneak attack.
Ooh, good roll. 20 damage.
Yes.
Nice.
That hurt. Wow. Okay, we're talking like 20% of health. Just boom, right to the side. You can feel him wheezing as the acid, the arrow is instantly just consumed, and it just like explodes within him. He kind of leans to the side, nearly knocking Felix over, and so he's going to do a tail attack against Garindan. He's going to swing wide. Garindan, you're like bracing with the shield, but now the dragon's done this full 360 as he does a tail attack against you. That's going to be a 23 to hit. 15 bludgeoning damage to you, Garindan.
Okay.
You get knocked off the side. I'd like you to do a strength saving throw.
I got a 4.
Yeah, you're knocked prone, just smashing into the side of the wall. You're like covered in snowdrift at this moment. But that is the end of Bramble's turn, so we're going to Garindan now.
Okay. So I'm not knocked out. I'm just prone.
Yep, just like flat on the ground in the snowdrift.
I say a quick prayer to Moradin. Oh, Father, protect Felthrin, this new brother of mine, and I summon the Guardian of Faith to stand in front him, between him and the dragon.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Okay, Guardian of Faith, that's a massive spell. So come on, like bring it out in the full picture. It is terrifying. What we see here, so go for it.
So not only does the itchy scar on his neck start to inflame, but his shield shines bright, as well as his warhammer, as this light just pierces the sky and comes down and lands. It starts to pool, and slowly from the ground up, this Guardian of Faith, this giant anvil, is protecting Felthrin from the dragon as it is pooling around and just getting ready to save this new brother of his.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it is bright. So the dragon's going to make a dex save.
Miss, please.
What's your spell DC, my friend?
Spell DC? My spell DC is 15.
15. All right, so he's going to dex plus 5. Oh, he succeeds. So he's going to take 10 radiant damage only.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad, though. So there's just huge brightness just fills, and the dragon just like backs away, and he's starting to scrabble back and forth. He's on his behind. He's beginning to beat his wings and roars and says, "No! You summon magic, you summon mages, you call upon your dwarven gods, but they have failed you once before. Grovelor fell. Do you not remember? Evil denizens moved in because you all fell to infighting and contests of will. I know the
He
law."
takes 7 more points of lightning damage to shut him up from Witch Bolt. It was my turn and I go first.
Hey, I didn't get to go.
That's true.
Oh, never mind then. Sorry.
No, skip your. What's your turn, Felix? How much damage?
7. Just
All right, I love it. You just shut him up. And he just right in his mouth. Felthrin, it's now your turn. Bottom of the round.
sorry, man.
That's all
right.
Good.
Felthorn's gonna bite him again.
But hey, no, that's some good dwarf elf. Come on, y'all need to
That was
go
great.
with that. Like,
That was great.
No, I thought Patrick went last. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Is this advantage again, Brandon? Okay. So the bite attack is going to be advantage again, and that's going to be a 19.
you got it.
All right. That's going to be 8 points of biting damage. So piercing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to follow it up with his claws. Let's see. Nope. Miss.
All right.
And he's going to roar. He didn't like that monologue.
Yeah, no. Reminding you of the Grovelor's past failures is a sour, burning message in a wound that is still fresh and open. And there is also a fresh open wound. Felix, anything you want to do with your bonus action, my friend?
Yeah, I get further away.
Okay, I'll let you do
Like I'm moving.
All right, so I'll let you do disengage. You have evaded. By the way, you're also visible by now.
No, I'm not invisible. Yeah, I know. Like I'm only invisible until I shoot. I haven't taken that feat yet. Cough.
Okay, he's gonna do a full wing attack at this moment. He's just so angry, and he just starts flapping his wings. So I need every player to make a dexterity saving throw. Patrick succeeds. Felix, that's a fail. All right, everyone just takes 13 bludgeoning damage with the exception of Patrick. Garindan only takes 6 bludgeoning damage.
I'm uncanny dodge.
Use it. Six bludgeoning damage. Yep.
Okay.
The dragon then begins to beat up in the air. He moves out of your range. He is now 30 feet in the air. Felthrin, that does give you an opportunity attack for a reaction.
All right. Would that be the bite or the claws?
I'll let you choose.
He's going to swipe at him with his claws.
All right, that's low risk, low reward. Go for it.
21.
That is a hit. Nice.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be 12 points of damage, slashing damage.
The best yet, just whoosh, right on the thigh. Black blood begins spilling down to the ground. You dodge out of the way. All right, now it's a Bragmanthor's. He's going to try to do his acid breath again, and he fails. Something about that witch bolt. You begin to see he's like clawing, hacking up, and he says, "Nevertheless, I can take you out." And he just dive bombs right into you. Bramble, you've done a pretty good job staying out of the way. Felix, I feel like you've got a good witch bolt on him, so you're in harm's way.
No, I said I was moving away, which meant the witch bolt stops.
Oh,
'Cause I use my bonus
That's
action
right.
to get further away.
you did disengage. Nevertheless, okay, Garindan and Felthrin are going to take the hits then. Felthrin, he's diving on you first as the bear. That's going to be an 11 to bite down on you.
11 is good.
That's a hit?
11's a hit.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
I'm a bear.
Yeah. All right. 19 points of damage.
I'm no longer a bear.
He just bites down on you and then raises up his jaws, and you see you see Felthrin just like lifting up the dragon's maw as a wiry old dwarf, and then just tumble out of the dragon's mouth right as he snaps shut. Garindan, you're gonna get 2 claws. Ooh, a natural 1 and a 2. Oh my gosh! All right,
Oh my
come
gosh.
on. The dice are telling a story. Garindan, I need you to why can't this dragon hit you? Like, what is so interesting about this?
It's the greater
It's
good.
Moradin's protecting me.
That's right.
There you go.
So we just see you do this fist pump in the air and just call out to Moradin. You're cheering on the dwarves now. They're gonna take a shot at the dragon. So they load up their crossbows and they do this firing shot. You see this volley of arrows just fly beyond you, just pincushioning this Ragamanthor's his hide as he slams down on Felthrin, using up his whole turn. Bramble, it's your turn again.
Bramble's gonna taunt. Are you afraid? What's the god's name, Patrick?
Moradin.
Mordred. Are you afraid of Mord? You can't handle it? And he'll take another shot. Ooh, that's a 10 to hit.
Okay, too bad. No advantage or anything. Oh, so sad. Okay,
The advantage must go to another creature.
Gotcha.
Specified.
All right, well, here's what happens, though. He does fail his dexterity saving throw. So right as you, fire a shot, you realize why it missed. It's because this guardian of faith, this beacon of light, just flashes again with radiant energy. He fails the save, and he takes 20 radiant damage.
Nice, Patrick, clutch.
And so he's just he just goes full back, and you see this huge black dragon silhouette lit up against this flame of light, all seemingly coming from Garindan, who's just off to the side chanting Moradin's name. The arrow simply goes flying out into the dark. Bramble, any bonus actions or use taunt, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, Garindan, it's now your turn.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Okay, God, the beast is on his back. Let's bolster ourselves for another attack there, Felthrin. I'm gonna heal you. What do I need to roll? 5, 8,
Nice.
6.
19 points. Thank you.
All right, well, as you do that and you turn towards him, his tail swings around again. And that's going to be a 19 to hit you, Garindan.
Okay.
You take 15 points of bludgeoning damage as you get this tail swiped right as you heal Felthrin. You skid to the side and your body is bowed over the tail and you're just holding on tight. Felthrin.
Is he still 30 feet in the air?
No, he dived down and snapped at you.
So he's back down where I can smack him.
Yes.
All right. He's going to get a couple hammer swings. He's going to get more than that. He's going to get, a couple hammer swings. Oh, nice. First one is a 23 to hit. Going to be 9 points of bludgeoning and 6 points of fire. And then a 27 to hit. 7 points of bludgeoning and 6 points of fire. And then I am going to... oh, no, never mind. I already used my action surge. So I will use my bonus action for second wind healing.
Felthrin, how do you do your second wind? What does that look like for a warrior in battle?
Well, he's feeling good, and he's actually, it's going to look double. He's really inspired by what Moradin's been doing. And so he's going to raise his hammer, and it's going to glow a little bit after he smacked the dragon twice, and he's going to say, "Come after me! You cannot defeat us! You cannot defeat Morden!" And as he raises the hammer, you're going to see the light, kind of similar light to what Garindan did, but it's going to kind of flow over him, energize him a little bit more, and he also goaded the creature. So now he has to be attacked.
Do you get to roll your superiority die?
I rolled an 8, so he gets 8 more points of damage from the previous attack.
That's all you needed.
We needed like 2. That's what I thought.
Nice.
So
Nice.
Okay, yeah, keep going if you want to. He just looked at you and just
he
said,
smacked him with the first hit, and then that's when all the other stuff happened. We'll just call it mid-action for flavor.
Yeah.
So then he's kind of brings up his hammer for the second hit, and he yells, "You're gonna have to fight me!" And he smacks him with the second hammer.
Not counting on the spectral guardian, not counting on the curing of wounds, not counting on calling Moradin. Voragamanthor, too comfortable for too long dealing with petty cultists and simple monsters, did not account for this ceremony of dwarves coming back to claim their home. Overconfidently, he turns to the side and he gets ready to launch one more bolt and just crush Garindan against the wall with his tail. He looks back and gets the warhammer right across his jaw, snapping it aside, knocking him completely unconscious. And he dies.
Yes.
It was enough. The strike of the warhammer shattered his brain. He lays to the side and gurgles out the remaining of acid as his bodily fluids begin just issuing out of him. He releases, and you hear one last gurgle. I would like everyone to roll a perception check. High number winner. All right, I like it. Bramble got it.
Oh,
Bramble, you hear one last gurgle. Marduk, avenge me. 3 cheers for Falkren! And they roar up. Garindan, a couple of the dwarves like Gundren, Nardo. I didn't realize you had it in you. By Morden's beard, we've not seen likes of that. Where'd you learn the craft? We didn't know we had a priest in our midst. We thought you were just serving ale. And again, this seemingly unassuming dwarf, who just 8 hours ago was toweling off a bunch of glasses, stoking the fires of the hearth of the Orc Tusk, and standing before you, again, as you described it, that spectral guardian still standing there, guarding Felthrin. The area is clear, and a foul odor burps out of the citadel of Grovlor. The area is cleared. So I imagine the rogues kind of like just duck off to the side while the dwarves are convening. Felthrin, you and Garindan are responding to each other after battle.
Garindan, you saved me, my friend. Thank you.
It's nothing. Nothing that you wouldn't do. I saw a brother in need, and Moradin saved the day.
Felthrin puts his hand on his shoulder, his hurt shoulder, or the shoulder where the scar is, at least, and says, "You are right in that, my brother." And he casts Cure Wounds on him.
Cool.
10 points of healing for you, Garindan. And then he continues to talk to the rest of the dwarves. "Brothers, this is a great victory. It's a great victory in reclaiming Grovlor. However, if I remember correctly, this dragon had a brother. So we must be careful. We must be vigilant. And if we see him, We must give him the same opportunity to flee or die.
I wouldn't trust the Black Dragon, not for vengeance. They're wily and cunning, vicious, vindictive. But we'll have your back, Felper, and we'll set up a watch, and we'll prepare defense. Not just from Black Dragons, but from anyone who wants to take our home.
Yes. Speaking of a watch, I'm tired. And Felthrin would suggest that the guardian stand in front of the archway for the remainder of his 8 hours, which would be like 7 hours and 58 minutes.
That's
And,
okay, sure.
And the rest of the dwarfs would start cleaning up Grove lore, but also give those of us that were most significantly fighting. It may have been some of the dwarfs, but at least the 4 of us a chance to rest. If the thieves want to, I need to rest.
The thieves are ransacking the horde, man.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. So you do head that way. However, I do want to zoom in on Felix for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Felix, as you and Bramble are excitedly heading towards the back of the cavern while the dwarves are patting each other on the back and dealing in accolades, you hear a small twig snap in the middle of this winter forest, and you see a small little hut buried beneath a knoll in the hillside. You hear a voice. A laughter.
Like a haggish laughter?
Make a religion check.
Oh, that's great. I have no idea what that is. 15.
15. You really should learn your heritage. And you see what looks like a small child in black and gray stripes darting off behind the knoll.
Is my spider necklace doing anything?
It is not. Not the spider necklace.
What's my coon necklace doing?
It's glowing.
See you later, and I go chase after it.
What? Okay.
Bramble, I'll let you respond. You see, you and Felix were in full stride going into the citadel, and all of a sudden Felix darts off towards what seems to be the wild. How would you like to respond?
Felix, I'm pretty sure it's this way.
Oh, you can come if you want.
The horde, though.
It'll be there when we get back.
Okay, all right, and at this point, I guess Bramble just has to go, or he's going to get left behind. So he's following Felix.
Yeah, Felix is running 50 feet, running out toward that knoll to where he thinks that hut was.
So Bramble, you're about 30 to 60 feet behind him. Felix, you stop short of this knoll, and you see there's a small child. Well, the size of a child, dressed as a gnome, dressed as a raccoon.
Oh.
And she's peeking from behind a knoll and says, "Your name is..." And then she says your gnomish name. Would you care to repeat it for us?
Felix Grayskin, Rumplepole, Adale, Elaine, Dillion, Treherne, Knackle.
That's what I thought you said.
That's what I thought. Yeah, she says all that. Bramble, you see Felix staring off into a knoll hillside, and you see no such gnome dressed as a raccoon. Nothing at all. Felix, how do you respond?
Well, Felix undoes his belt so he doesn't have weapons, because that's not how we go in here. Hey!
Yeah, go for it.
Bramble.
Yeah?
And I'm not talking to you in my normal voice.
What?
So this sounds like Elvish to you. If you know what Elvish sounds like cool, then you hear this. Do you? Or does it sound like nonsense?
Yeah, it sounds like nonsense.
Okay. I basically say in Elvish, can you understand what I'm saying? We'll try gnomes. Can you understand what I'm saying? Alright, hey. Hold these.
You
Gives
do,
him these two swords.
yeah, and you do.
These are not for you to keep. Hold them.
Okay.
Stay here.
What?
He extends his weapon to you, his belt, and you do recognize him speaking Elvish and Gnomish, though you don't understand what he's saying. But I feel like you would know at least a couple words, so Felix, drop 1 or 2 words that he would recognize.
Here, take this. Hold, please.
Felix, you approach this sacred ground where Berevar Cloakshadow rests. You see the knoll, the hillside covered in snow begin to lift up, and you realize it's not a hut. It's the head of a raccoon. The mask and the eyes open up into bright lights that are about the size of 2 large crystals. And it says to you, "Only the lucky find. If you have found me, then you are lucky. Why is this? Do you know the riddle?" It breathes silently.
All right, so I reach behind my back and I pull the only weapon that I kept with me, which is a dagger, because he's also a dagger god. I pull that out, god of the raccoon and god of the dagger. I've heard the riddle since I was a wee. On my father's knee, well, he was on my knee, but at my father's side. O God of my God, what would you have of me that I have seen you? I am your servant.
How tied are you to the Demon Queen? What allegiance does she hold for you?
I give no allegiance to anyone. Or demon.
Spiders, your powers, your heritage. What allegiance do you give to her?
Cannot change my blood, nor that I can change the size of my body or the color of my skin.
Would you if you could?
Yes.
Ah. The little child laughs. Oh, please, please. I haven't painted anything in such a long time. Step forward, Knuckle.
He does so. I do so. Effectively.
Would you consent to a new body, to a reform with new blood to retain your powers? Will you stay in your own?
Ooh. My lord, this is the only body I've ever known. And it took me many years not to hate what I was. And what was done to my father to make me.
Yeah.
I never knew him. But I carry vengeance in my heart for him. And while I love you and your kin, and the folk that saved me in the woods, if I returned home and I didn't look like myself, my ma would not know me. And when I stand over my birth mother's body, with her head in my hand, after I have cut it from her shoulders, she will know it is me that did it.
The little raccoon goes, "Oh my!"
And on that day, may I could come here again and change my flesh.
Indeed you may, but no one comes to me. For this place here is not here, but is everywhere. Knuckle, you have decided not to indulge me. However, I fancy you and enjoy your company. So I will give you a boon, that you may be faithful to the raccoon and faithful to complete your quest. I hope to understand more. And then he opens up his mouth and breathes on you this very warm summer breeze. You catch the salty wind. You hear the cry of seagulls. You hear the waves crashing on the shore. The cackling of the little raccoon girl. And you receive luck. 1 reroll per day. Go with the luck of the raccoon. Under his mask, you shall succeed. And the area turns back into a little snow hill. The little girl darts behind the hillside, and you know that you've stood on holy ground. Bramble, you witness nothing except Felix's still body and his voice almost echoing into a can as if he was talking to someone. Actually quite similar to this experience Hay just had, but a couple hours ago. Felix, you turn back to Bramble, and it's been about, I would say, a good 30 minutes to an hour.
Brimble's sitting on the floor with your stuff just next to him.
Hey,
What was that?
I'll see you later. Let's go find some horde, yeah? Give me my things. Let's go. And he scoops them up in one hand under his arm and just heads back in towards the inside.
So the dwarves have started clearing in. I did give Bramble and Felix a head start. However, Felthrin and Garindan, you've got an hour. Felthrin, I think you've encouraged everyone to take a long rest, short rest.
He's not all that concerned about the horde, so he's
Okay.
he's going to make sure he picks up the sword that was out there, and then he's going to find a place to rest, and hopefully, he's going to tell his brothers, take a look, find what you want, but beware that there's another dragon.
Gundren is the only dwarf that goes exploring. Felix and Bramble, you arrive right at the same time Gundren does, if not moments before. You are aiming for the horde.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot.
Cool. I've got lots of pockets.
It's one of the wealthiest banks in this area of the Sword Coast, and it has been added to recently due to the horrible pillaging that the Church of Tiamat has done upon the land. Bramble, you recognize 3 items from your homeland immediately. Together, let's describe a couple of who they are. Any famous relics, family relics, heirlooms, things that would be of great value. Felix, you're watching as Bramble approaches these treasures that have been taken from his homeland.
Hey, you okay?
He picks up a ring.
This is the ring of the Lord of the Heartwood Estate. This was my brother's. They took it from him before they left him for dead. This is why I'm here. This is why I'm going to keep going. And I can't think of other things off the top of my head.
No, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Roll a d100 twice.
Felix is meticulously counting out 100 pieces of gold because that's how much it costs for the information to get here.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He's taking that first before he does anything.
Here's what I say. Just for fairness' sake, this is how it goes. You each are able to acquire 1,000 gold pieces, Bramble and Felix. So in our world, that is roughly $100,000, 100 grand.
I could buy a boat.
Yeah, and it's easy enough to move around and manipulate. Bramble, 2 things that your family held. There is a sacred potion given to you by a cloud giant long time ago. A deal was dealt, and the halfling families of Heartwood Estate rescued a cloud giant from breaking down. His little tower crashed near your estate, and they just repaired it for him. As a favor, he gave you the potion of cloud giant strength.
Yes.
You also, with that 94, no joke, I love D&D, you got the Arrow of Dragon Slaying.
Ooh.
A little late.
And it's just, it fits perfectly into a short bow and a small crossbow, carefully designed by your wonderful clan, Heartwood, in the case that a dragon should attack one day. And you find it. Felix, you can roll 1 time.
39.
Along with these items, you find this little bitty potion vial, and on it, it's like a wizard has designed it. It is the potion of speed. Besides all those things, Bramble and Felix, y'all are in this treasure trove of this massive amounts of wealth and pillaged things. You see all kinds of wealthy clothing and even some pieces of furniture that were stolen, just assembling this hoard to worship Tiamat, taken from cities like Daggerford, Greenest, Bramble, your estate, all these areas that have been pillaged, as well as just general collections that Varagam Thor has amassed over the years, savings, deposits, loans, all these things, stocks and bonds, and even deeds to properties that are safely guarded here. Yeah, Gundren's kind of like eyeing y'all, looking around, is like, hey, mind, all right, just, take as much as you can, but we've got to account for this as well.
Oh yeah, we're not being greedy, sir.
I know. You boys have done well, deserve it. You indeed did save our bacon.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
Talking is nice, but when can we all go get pissed?
That would be at the Orc Tusk Tavern back in Leoland. It's only about a 5-mile march.
I'm going to bed.
The dwarves will be setting here for the night. I think you probably should be laying over with the dwarves. We'll be setting up watch here in the treasure trove.
Well,
However,
didn't you say there was nice furniture in here?
Do what?
Didn't you say there was nice furniture in here?
Yeah.
Felix is going to go find a nice, couch and just, sleep on it.
I like that.
Take his stuff up, but go to bed.
It's like a really bad yard sale. Everything's kind of just piled all together. You make way, lock over a couple pots and pans, some cooking utensils, just loot that has been just amassed throughout the last couple months. Bramble, you get one question about this area. Anything you're interested in before we go back to Felthrin and Garindan?
He's looking at the things beyond just gold and platinum and that. He's looking at the furniture and goblets and whatever, and all these things. To him, all he can see is that these were taken from somebody else. So he's not really interested in getting more beyond coinage.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and the coinage is hard to guess who it came from, where it was lost. It's kind of like just there's money in the streets. You're not sure where it came from. But if it does interest you, probably could. If Bramble's interested, I'm sure he could find something that does belong to someone. If he's looking for anyone in particular.
Okay.
Locally, you would know, oh, this belongs in this town, this store. This was made by this artisan.
Okay. So there'll be a tapestry that belonged to sort of the next estate over. After his estate was attacked, they went there next, and he wasn't in time to help them at all.
Yeah.
But he knows that somebody has survived.
You're all gathering for sleep. Garindan, what are you doing during this time? Felthrin has obviously started to at least bandage up his wounds and do some meditation, some breathings. He's recentering himself and maybe even nodding off a little bit here and there. But Garindan, you're thrust into this, and a couple of the dwarves just patting you aside and said, "We didn't know you had it in you. It's pretty amazing." So you're getting lots of accolades for just being a barkeep.
Yeah, I kind of forgot I had it in me too, but praise Moradin. He came through for us in the day. Now, how about y'all help me out drink some of these brews?
Yeah, and they just roll them over, and you've just acquired all these casks that they had in the wagon. You begin serving a round of drinks to all the dwarves. Gundren grabs you by the ankle, Felix. "Hey, elf, get your sorry ass over here. Get your sorry ass over here. We got some talking to do. Come on, we got enough sleep." And he whistles over to you, Bramble. "Come on, let's go." you're all back in the room where the keg is being served at this moment. Garindan's passing out this rich red ale that has a strong like apple aroma mixed with a little bit of nutmeg. So it's a very fine, warm drink here on this cold, blustery day. And the sky is darkening outside. The light simply from Garindan's spell and a couple sconces are lit, as well as a bonfire that is roaring, illuminating the atrium, and especially the smiling statue of Moradin's face. It gets quiet as Gundren, the eldest dwarf, stands up. Right then. We know what to do. Occupy Grovelore. Now, I would like to look for a couple problems we might have. We do have a dead dragon outside. Yeah. We'll let the carry-on take care of that. But, regarding our neighbors, Felthrin, I know you haven't been here in a while, but some of you might have been. And he looks over at Bramble. My henfolk friend, do you know anything about the neighbors in this area? Anything we dwarves should know about?
There are lizard folk around here who fell in line with the dragon, as is their tendency. They're not evil, but they might not appreciate that we've sort of gotten rid of their deity, if you will. They may try to take their vengeance, and they're pretty big in number.
Right. Didn't count on that. So we might have neighbors in the morning. Or at night. Paddywinkel, set up a watch. I don't want any surprises tonight. Thank you for that, my friend. I think it's become obvious that Felthrin's done a good job here. Felthrin, what are your intentions? There's many ways this road could go.
Uncle, I leave this place to you. I hope to return to you someday, but I have business elsewhere. I shall continue on with my friends, and we have many things to accomplish. I wonder if we take from the Horde what we need to rebuild Grovelore, and to keep ourselves full of ale, and give the rest back to those around. Maybe even the lizard folk, as a peace offering. Give it back to the cities that have been taken advantage of by the dragon and Tiamat's evil helpers.
Where do you intend to go, if I might ask, my nephew?
First, we must take the lady to Waterdeep. There is a meeting there. And then, I believe Tiamat's followers are planning something in the desert of Skorna. That's where we will go next. It is the three of us. However, Garindan, if you seek adventure, if you're tired of dealing ale, I believe you would be a welcome part of our party. What you did for us fighting the dragon was... I can't explain it. What Moradin did for you in that moment. You are blessed by our God, and I would be honored to walk beside you. Plus, I need another dwarf to keep an eye on these two. And he looks at Bramble and Felix.
Felix looks offended.
I humbly accept your offer of adventure. I have been dawdling too long in one place. It is time to seek, and it seems you are on the same path as I. It would be a privilege to keep these two rogues in ale and out of our hair, although I lack it. My beard, let's say.
Hey, if you're bringing booze, yeah, come on.
That Gundren says, I was thinking of going to Waterdeep to sit with the council, for I know there's going to be much dissension about what to do about this current threat. That is the Church of Tiamat. But yes, Garindan, go in my stead. Represent the dwarves. Felthrin will also help you speak. He looks at all four of you and says, so you're headed to Waterdeep. I do not pity you. There are a bunch of squabbling fools. Many minds coming together can't always be a good thing. Watch your backs. Keep a lookout. And don't abandon each other in time of need. There's a little bit of chatter, drinking up the last of the spiced red ale. You're turning in for bed. Each of you are describing what we see as your character, your sojourner, beds down for the night for a long rest. And I'd like to start with Bramble.
Bramble finds a quiet place with a bedroll, and he pulls out the signet ring and the arrow in particular. The arrow, it's the heartwood arrow. It is sort of the symbol of his family, taken from the heart of the heartwood tree. I mean, this is the one. So he's sort of satisfied and relieved, and it actually doesn't take him long between these good feelings and how tired and injured he is. It doesn't take him long to fall asleep.
That's great. Felix, what are we seeing as you bed down for the night?
So after a lot of drinking and leading some of the guys in some really, really inappropriate pirate songs, because these are my people, and he's been a while since Felix has got down. Felix is just kind of like stumbling back to the couch that he likes, and is passing out super drunk with his cloak on and his boots on, muttering something about a raccoon.
I love it. Felthrin, what do we see as your character beds down for the night?
So after Felthran takes a short rest, and allows the pillaging to happen of the horde, as everybody's starting to rest, he's going to put his arm around Uncle Gundren, and he's going to say, Uncle, show me what the dragons have collected. And he's going to walk back to look at the horde with his uncle. Okay. Specifically, just to maybe discuss a little bit deeper how to distribute the wealth back to the people. Uncle, after so long in the forest, my ideals changed some, but I believe as we move forward, I may need to grab deeper to my roots. Did you see any armor in here that might fit a dwarf like me? He's specifically looking for some metal armor. Finally, he's finally embraced that it's time, and he's going to be okay with having metal gear. So he may be looking for a shield to replace his cherrywood shield. He's definitely looking for something beefy as far as armor goes, and he's gonna just take a look through the horde and see if he can find something.
Do an investigation check with advantage.
Ooh, I like that. That's going to be a 19.
That's great. You find a beautiful shield. It's actually never left Grovlore.
Oh, wow.
A beautiful shield and a dwarven plate. Gundren doesn't even look over at the horde. He says, I think that one's got your name on it. Filthy lad. Shield. We'll get the stats later, but go ahead and describe what the metal armor and the metal shield look like.
Okay. So the shield, the crazy part about the shield is I turn it over and I realize it has that Warhammer symbol on it, and that it's a Grove lore shield. And he, Uncle, did you see this? Wasn't this Fezzik's shield?
Yes, it was.
And look, it's in good condition. And he bangs it a little bit.
By Morden's beard and Clangeddon's arm. It's been preserved this whole time. Not a bit of dust on there.
I will take this one.
Fezzik would be proud for you to have this indeed, Felthy.
Thank you. And then as far as the armor goes, I think what he ends up finding is maybe something that's not as pretty, but definitely battle worn. Something that has been damaged. I don't think he recognizes which dwarf it came from. Maybe Uncle Gundren does, but
no, this was Felthy too. There's a reason we gave him a shield. Felthy, it belongs to you now. Fezzik would indeed be proud.
Thank you, Uncle.
Mike, how do you put up with him?
Zombie.
And he points over to Felix. Really?
Oh, Uncle.
Elthrin.
If you knew him, well, I wouldn't say to know him is to love him, but
Zombie goblins.
Are you saying you love him?
You would, as strange as it is to travel with the drow, he's been there for me.
I have nothing to eat.
And, he's an acquired taste, Uncle. One I don't think you're going to get.
Well,
Dwarf.
He saved my skinny butt one time. So,
He did.
keep him around, keep him close. And maybe let him be first in line next time when a dragon attacks you. I'm just kidding. And he walks over to Felix and he puts like an extra 50 gold in his pocket.
Nice. Felthrin is going to pick up a little gold, though. He doesn't want a lot.
No,
he just needs to have some.
You get 1,000 gold.
Oh, he'll pick up 1,000 gold.
Yeah, last but not least, Garindan, what do we see as you bed down for the night? You are one of the last people to go to sleep, besides Patty Winkle and the dwarf keeping watch.
So as I get ready for bed, I look out over the dwarfs and realize this community and fellowship is what I'd been missing. It's something that had been taken from me. I look outside to the dying guardian of faith and thank Moradin, put my hand on my chest and say, you said you'd never leave, Moradin, and you came true. You promised, and you came through. I could see fighting the dragon today that you were protecting me, and you want me to protect these fellows, these adventurers. Bed down for the night, finish shaving my head one last time, and send up a final prayer of thanks, and get ready for a good adventure.
Grovelore Citadel has never been more peaceful than the sound of snoring dwarves. A snoring henfolk and one half-drowned gnomish fellow who's muttering on about a raccoon. And so our story concludes for tonight.